Howdy there. Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. Well, welcome back if this is your ninth Walker episode review. Once again, I made a bit of a mistake. Last week I thought was the ninth episode. Turns out it was the eighth episode, so my apologies. And I did not realize that until post-production. So with that being said, this is the proper halfway mark of the season. And this... I'm a little bit torn about it, since I'm happy in a sense that certain things did not get dragged out, but I kind of wish they did. It's weird because I'm so used to shows stretching out the big plot point throughout the entire season that I'm getting a little bit unused to the fact that no, they could just end it whenever they want. It could be at the halfway mark and we still have a whole half season to go, so there's still some more stuff to be explored. Where in this case, I was reviewing Nancy Drew season 1 last year, I initially thought that the Tiffany and Lucy stuff were going to take the entire season, and had the show actually planned its original ending before COVID, I think it would have been shy 5 episodes. So it's a little bit weird for me to grasp around it, but I guess that's kind of the new norm we live in. The big story could be wrapped up a lot earlier, and then you'll get some new stuff that you weren't expecting down the line. So let's go for this week's Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we begin with I believe we're at the Walker Ranch. I believe everyone's breaking the news that do we get a scene? No. So we get Grandpa Walker, Grandma Walker. This is I think the day after the whole the dance thing that doesn't really, you know what I mean. So they're catching up on everything now. The attention's morely focused on now the realization that Emily's real killer is still out there, so they gotta find her now. And Walker's the one who has to tell his kids because everyone knows except the kids. So it's a very tense family meeting that is not pleasantful for the kids, as Walker admits that the original guy they thought killed Emily is really innocent, so now they are going to go try and find the real killer. The kids have very mixed reactions about it, since August is now concerned the fact that the Northside Nation, the gang that kind of terrorized them back a couple episodes ago, is now responsible. He's obviously concerned that they targeted us and they killed Mom, so should we be concerned that they might be targeting us after all? August has a valid feel. I thought his performance in this episode was kind of hit or miss, especially with this line delivery, but he does have a point that, hey, look, this is now three of our family members have been attacked by the Northside Nation. Well, actually 4 if you consider Liam, so he's got a point there. And August is kind of a little bit, Stella's more along the lines of, she's dealing with the grief of it, but plus also with her boyfriend now kind of ghosting her after last night. She's not in the best mental state right now. She's not in the best position in her life right now. And of course Walker's going to go out there and try to find the killer. He about to say he's going to go hunting or something like that, which assuming that means go work for bounty hunting or something like that. I really don't know what he means. Liam's staying behind. Everyone's staying behind to take care of the kids. It's basically just a home day for them, while Walker goes to take care of business. But before Walker can even leave his house, James arrives to tell him that, hey, they got a court approved wiretap on a poker game with the Northside Nation members. So this could probably lead to something. So he implores Walker to join him. Walker's a bit hesitant on doing so. He was morely going to try and get to Mickey and see what they could do together. Just the two of them, since they have been building up their dynamic recently. But James is more no, come with me. I'm mostly a sure thing with this thing, so it's better. Get some old fashioned partner time with these two. So he does heck along for them, and I just want to get through all the Mickey stuff, since there's a lot of to unpack with the whole Walker Emily thing. So Liam's trying to basically kill time by doing a lot of home improvement stuff that he's kind of been lacking lately. And obviously Grandpa and Grandma Walker are a bit concerned, since this is not usually Liam, plus the beard is not a big fan for them. So he's a bit he's not there, he's not there in the same place. Miggy shows up, turns out she's the security detail. August kind of said like, well, we should need some security, so she said they hear yelling and screaming from the other house, indicating that the brother and sister fighting again. Why wouldn't have surprised. So Mickey heads over to go check on them. They're fighting because August got a text from the boyfriend, not boyfriend, of Stella, and Stella's pissed off the fact that he's talking to him, but even though technically he was only just saying, "I'm just canceling plans, man. That's it. I don't want to be around anyone right now," which kind of infuriates Stella since she doesn't want to be going through this, but she is, and she even asks Mickey like, "Do you have any advice on this sort of thing? Do you have any experience?" And Mickey decides, you know what? I'm gonna take these two kids gun shooting because we're in Texas. We could do that. So, fun and games aside, they go to the shooting range. Stella's actually a natural shot, and August's primary concern again is like, hey, if we're learning how to use guns, can we learn this on like moving targets? Since again, August has a point. Like the North Side Nation, very scary group. They could be after you any moment. But Mickey is trying to calm them down. Like they don't really need it at the moment. They don't really need to. That was basically it for their storyline this week. They weren't really doing much. Even Grandpa and Grandma Walker were talking to Liam about like, hey, we don't know what's going on with you, but it seems like you're kind of like not there anymore. It could be because of your breakup with your fiance, or the whole Walker Emily thing, or it could be just a combination of the two. Like you're not yourself. You need to find a way to get back to it. So, but he kind of doesn't really admit that at the moment. So then we head to the big thing. So Walker and James are on stakeout. They're looking at the surveillance at the not the surveillance, the wiretap. James is trying to recreate the old-fashioned days of those two when they were just regular Texas Rangers. Even James does the dreaded "it's been a long day, I'm taking off my boots" type things to air them on my feet. I'm like, oh god, that sounds disgusting. I actually never let my friends. Actually, no, I do let my friends take off their shoes when they come to my house pre-pandemic, and very rarely during pandemic. But normally, like if it's like a one-on-one, or if they don't have any socks, I'm like, no, absolutely not, out of the question. Get out of here. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I love them. So they're off doing that, and obviously, of course, the whole wiretap and everything was enough to justify reopening Emily's case. And Walker's first instinct, he reads the first page. Well, not the first page. The first page he looks at is Jerry's photo as a person of interest. And before James can give him the actual concise professional answer, James is a bit concerned considering the fact Jerry just pulled up in the parking lot of the game. So that's concerning. Of course, obviously, James fills him in that like, hey, there's a lot of too many coincidences with Jerry's involvement in this whole matter, so it could be possible she could have been the killer, which is enough to infuriate Walker a bit for him to leave the truck and confront her, and she admits the truth. She's had some money problems, and she had to take out a loan with the Northside Nation, so that was her only real involvement with the NSN, and she said like, look, I didn't kill Emily, she was still my best friend, and I would never kill her. And it's not enough to convince Walker or James, like, but it's enough for them to like actually trust her on the matter of like becoming their new wiretap, since the old wiretap that was being placed on the table is now broken, so they can't get any more evidence for that, so they have to put Jerry in since she has a valid reason to get in there. So she volunteers and also is forced to do it. I forget which one it was. So she heads in on the guise of just wanting to pay back her loan, hopefully to drag on a conversation long enough to confirm something, which sadly does not work. At least the loan payout, since apparently, even though the loan would be repaid, technically the bar had some Northside money in there, and if it's bought out by a Texas Ranger, that's only going to lead to more investigation. So they don't want that. So they deny her request to pay it off unless she sells it to someone else or she backs off on selling, which is no bueno. But they force her into the game. She's smartly, she should be losing so that she doesn't seem that overconfident or cocky in herself. But no, she just completely goes in to demolish them. And the guy, the main leader, is kind of giving loose hints about the whole killing a Ranger's wife thing. So it's enough to send Walker over the edge, but not enough for him to leave the truck and immediately confront them. No, they still have to wait for some sort of like silver bullet or something. But the conveying conversations don't really drag out well to kind of get anything, which leads to Jerry just confronting Oswald, the leader, about, hey, look, I know that the Rangers know the NSN has something to do with the death, so why don't you just admit it now, since, you are not letting me sell my bar to a Texas Ranger, the least you owe me some answers, which is enough for him to confirm his suspicion that, yeah, she is being wired. And I'm presuming they were about to kill her, or about to, like, hold her hostage, but thankfully Walker and James step in at the nick of time to kind of, like, just stop them from anything from becoming worse, putting Oswald in a position that he's got to give up his position of being threatening people. And also Walker and James have such the best dynamic right now, because, like, they're just acting like old times, and it's like, I would have honestly loved to see some prequel episodes with the two of them. I'm not sure how that would turn out, but I would actually be curious to see some of those episodes. So they're kind of like just like chopping shop, trying to, like, take them out very diligently and very swiftly, which seems to be working enough to buy time to get the other Texas Rangers to show up to arrest everyone else, which puts Oswald at kind of like a still, like, okay, I guess I got no choice to actually put him, put myself down here. He also admits during this that when Walker asked him, hey, did you actually kill my wife or something? He said, no, the day your wife supposedly was, killed, I was off in another place in the world. So you can't pin it on me. But, Oswald gets a punch in the teeth by Jerry, since she's still not happy with the whole thing. So also on Jerry's way out, while the Rangers are closing up shop here, one of the women at the poker table said, like, hey, I know what happened to Emily, you gotta let me talk to the Rangers. So that night, everyone's being walked away. Walker and James are just having a one-on-one about, recent events, and just, James apologizing to Walker that he didn't believe him earlier, that maybe, they could have gotten the person, like, fairly quicker had they, had he just, listened to him, and, that sort of thing. And James admits that, like, things have been very difficult with him being the captain, since there's a lot, like, kind of some sort of racial elements at play here. So he's trying a lot harder to, like, prove himself to be a good captain, but maybe he was, like, kind of glossing away at what his best friend needed at the time, which is a fair observation to make. The woman from the poker table gets up to them and tells them, hey, look, I got evidence that could point you in the direction of Emily's real killer, but she needs some, like, big deal, like, she needs protection, she needs, all of her previous arrests cleared, so she's basically starting over again, that sort of thing. Kind of very suspicious stuff. And which is enough for Walker to say, yeah, we'll take all the deals. Like, just give me some real, like, concrete evidence we can use here. And she says, look, I have a recorded voice memo. I have some other evidence. It's all on my phone. If I can get my phone that's inside, I can easily get that back to you. Also, I completely forgot how the episode started, because this is actually important now. So this episode started with a flashback back on the night of Emily's death, when just after the Rangers found her body, they're at the morgue. They're Walker and Jerry. Well, Jerry's covered in blood, which is kind of sus. I mean, you could assume that, like, yeah, that's when she found Emily and she was probably hugging her or something like that. I don't really remember. Or I don't remember how that would have went, but it kind of just paints her as a suspicious motive, that maybe she was the one who killed Emily or not. But she goes up to Walker, and they're both, like, really grief stricken, and, really, they just want to cry right now, but they got to hold it together for now. James calls them in to kind of confirm Emily's body, which, again, I'm saying that's Jared Padalecki, amazing actor in this scene. Like, I don't like, sometimes he's a little stiff at times when he shouldn't be stiff and rough. But, like, the moment he saw Emily's, like, deceased body, and he just broke down, it's like, yeah, that got me. That really got me. I didn't cry, but, like, that really got me. Like, I really felt the energy there, especially since also this was also his real life wife. So it's like, he's just imagining, like, what if she actually went, and, that. So I'm giving him kudos for that. But it was a powerful scene. It really was. And, now back to what I was talking about. So they put the pieces together, and also, James gets a call from someone higher up in his field that, hey, look, we cross-referencing CCTV footage, and yeah, Oswald was in Vegas at the time of Emily's death, so he did not kill Emily. So they're trying to figure out, like, then who killed Emily? Then also, why did the woman say that he killed him and had evidence against him if he was literally in a whole nother state? Until they realize she was the killer, because she does it like she really weirdly does this lighter trick for some reason, and doing that kind of, like, gave Walker flashbacks to where he saw someone do that similarly on the night of the medical examiner's office, and also Emily's death. So they assume like, yeah, she's the one who killed her. So they head in, guns a blazing, trying to like catch her, get her off guard. They split up briefly. Walker hits her with the back wall. James goes for on the other side of the building. Eventually, Walker does run into her, but sadly, she has the gun pointed behind him, so he's kind of in a rough position. Thankfully, James comes in and kind of stops her from doing so and disarming her, which is like, thank God. Like, I do not need Cordell Walker to get shot. No, we do not. So from there, we get the big revelation of what happened. So she spills the beans of why. So there was no real like preconception. There was no like pre-planning or anything. It was as simple as this. Well, not simple as that, but you know what I mean. The night that Emily and Jerry were off delivering supplies by the border for immigrants and people who really needed the help was also the night I was just repeating their name. The NSN were off delivering some drugs. I say that very loosely, like drugs, like needles and shots and that sort of thing. The illegal drugs. They were off doing that, and sadly, they hit a pothole, and then some of the drugs fell. Which I'm like thinking, what kind of poor ass shitty car do you have that like, the door just opens and 5 vials manage to come out? I mean, what kind of car do you own? But while they said at the moment like it's only 5 vials, Evelyn was right there. She saw everything. She had her phone out, which for them is like she's gonna call the police. She's gonna blow our cover. She's gonna lose our source of income, and she looks like a talker. Not to rhyme with Walker. I know that's a very poor joke, but you know what I mean. They were not happy, and they had to eliminate her. Again, I don't know where Jerry was in all this. I mean, I'm assuming Jerry was just like offside, and then Emily was just waiting by the car. I don't really know. They didn't really explain that much, but Emily was just was at the wrong place at the wrong time, so it had even nothing to do with Jerry and her deal. It was just she was just viewed as a threat, and they eliminated her. And of course, obviously, Walker looks at her in the eyes like, my wife literally died for 5 vials of your drug. I mean, I feel for him in the scene that, yeah, if he could have, he would have shot her. But he's also needs to know that he's on the right side of the law here. And like, he can't just shoot her. It's not that easy. Like, she needs to go away for a long time and learn her lesson. Obviously, I would have just punched her, to be honest with you. But Walker does the right thing. James talks him out of it. And, he lets down his gun. But however, it turns out the woman actually had a secret gun and she was about to shoot Walker, but then Jerry comes in, shoots her instead, saving Walker's life, but also killing her, sadly. But it's over. Emily's real killer was found and then killed. Kind of like really rushed a little bit, just a little bit rushed, a little bit. So yeah, that's all said and done. James drops up Walker home, and James Walker admits the reason why he's been kind of like a little bit distant, a little bit more like, not the old time of them before. It was mostly because of, Walker's like real last memory of James before he became captain and all that was when he was lifting up Emily's shroud, the blanket, the sheet that was covering her face. That was kind of like what he was associating him for, which is kind of weird in a way, because like I really like he was just doing his job. He wasn't really like, I don't know. That was kind of weird, but he even gives her a little memento from their time together as partners, a bar napkin that had all their like partner roles and whatever, as a sign of good gesture. Like, I'm willing to like resume our old dynamic, even if you're my captain now. So he takes that as is. So Walker heads in home. His kids. I forgot they had dogs, and they're like, oh my god, they're such the cutest dogs in the world. And the Walker kids just hug him. They're happy that their dad's home, and Grandpa Walker's just like kind of relieved that like, yeah, he, the kids don't have to suffer for another loss, which is great. They have a family dinner together where Walker's like, as much as the path they took here, hurts them a lot because, they lost Emily along the way, maybe now they could start like really moving forward and seeing what life is like on the other side. James goes to visit the person we thought killed Emily as he leaves prison at nighttime, which is strange enough since like kind of sus you're letting a prisoner go at nighttime. Isn't that like usually the worst time to let them out? I think usually they let them out by the daytime. I think that would be more better, but that was weird. But James is trailing him for some unknown reason. Maybe he's finally going to go off on a date with the guy's daughter that maybe she liked him, maybe she didn't. I really don't know. And also Liam decides, as his next project, his next future choice, he's going to run for governor of Texas, which is that should be fun. That should be really fun. And Walker is so the episode ends with Walker, sleeping with his kids. Well, they pass down on his shoulder. But he's not like, he feels like something's missing, so he heads off back to the bar. Jerry's already there drinking her life away. And, she's going to say goodbye, now that everything's over with. Emily's, case is finally fully resolved. So she's leaving again. Walker's there to kind of console her. And, they're having some really close moments here. I'm like, well, they are best friends since, like, middle school, like, very early on. So it's like, I'm pretty sure it's just like, I have best friends who, like, are, that old. So I'm like, I would be that close and affectionate with them. But, like, that's kind of weird, like, how many shots we're getting of them. And then to end up the episode, they kiss. And I was like, damn. I was not expecting that. And that's where the episode ends. And that was the proper first end to the first half of Walker's first season. So now that that's being said, I'm a little bit divisive on this. I mean, I am perfectly fine with the whole Emily matter being squared away 9 episodes in. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm very curious to see how they extended it, since remember Walker was originally 13 episodes, then they upped it to 18. So I'm really curious to see what changes they made to the second half. So maybe they were going to drag it out a little longer. Maybe this was the proper season finale. I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. And either way, we got a season 2 already, so like we know that's going to come out. So this was probably already planned out from the get-go, but I really hope this isn't the end of Emily, because like I love their flashback moments. I love seeing those, and I hope we still keep getting them as when the moment feels right. I mean, she is recurring after all, so she's never meant to be part of the cast. So, but I am a little bit bummed that like even when I did Nancy Drew last year, like even the whole revelation of who the killer actually was, like that was a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more like set up. This one was like, it was just a random NSN member. I mean, no offense, it did make sense. I kind of would have wanted to be Oswald, since like he kind of like feels have more of the flair of a villain. This was just an unfortunate timing thing, which does happen in life, but like, I don't know. I was expecting something more grandiose, but it could just be me, to be honest with you. But I'm also happy they didn't drag this out too far, because like had they like just done like the slow, tedious like mini revelations every week to like the big stuff towards the end of the season, I would have gotten old of that. But at the same time, like I wish they would have extended this out a little bit more. I'm not sure. I'm a very weird person with that. But that's just a me opinion. But it was nice for Walker to finally get some sort of like true sense of closure, knowing that the person who killed his wife is now gone forever. The whole Jerry thing's been interesting though. Like, where does that leave him now? Like, now that Emily's like fully like, I think his speech was like meant to like say goodbye to Emily for good, in terms of like just her as a spirit, lurking around him always. I think that ends her time there. So where does that leave Jerry? I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm down for whatever, because like I don't know what's next. Like literally majority of our major plot lines are already over. I mean, we still have some lingering ones, but I'm just really curious to see how things are going to progress going into now the proper second half. So with that being said, I'm going to give this episode 1 3/4 star. It's not a full 2, but it's not a full 1.5. So there you go. Take that as what you will. And let me know in the comments below. What did you think of the Emily Walker's death wrap up? Let me know in the comments. What did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to conversation down there. And I think that's going to do it for me, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing overall, What's in the Tube besides Walker, we're doing Rookie Season 3 episode reviews each and every Monday morning after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing Nancy Drew Season 2 episode reviews each and every Thursday morning after a brand new episode on Wednesday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. But if you don't care about Walker, well, we get another break. Another break. We get 2 episodes of Walker, then we're off for 2 weeks. It seems to be a running trend here. Like, we got 4 episodes, 2-week break. 2 more episodes, 2-week break. It's like we can never really get comfortable with the groove here. We never could. Watch, no, we did 5 weeks of Walker, then 2 off, 2 on, and then 2 off, 2 on. So, um, and this is only the halfway mark of the season. So I'm like, oh my god, at this point we're probably not going to be even done with the show till August. I'm being honest, and we have a character named August, so it's like that's even more irony. When will the season end? I don't know, really. I don't know. They got 9 more episodes left. We're back on May 6th, so we'll be back reviewing May 7th. So we'll be off for 2 weeks. And just a bit of a heads up, I'll announce this on Twitter by, I believe, next week. But I'm just giving you a heads up for if you are a overall What's in the Tube listener. We will have a quick impressions up next Friday. I haven't picked what show I'm doing quite yet, but I will pick a show off fairly soon. However, because for the first time in the history of What's in the Tube, the week after next, we will have none of the 3 shows airing new episodes. Not Rookie, not Nancy Drew, and not Walker. So for the first time ever, I'm actually taking a hiatus. I'm taking the week off to focus on history told drama and to just catch up on other stuff in my life. Also use that time to like just do other things in general. So and also I don't really want to stretch myself out doing. I think I'm going to say 5 back-to-back quick impressions. I think I would just rather just save it and just like, you know what, I could use a break. Because like if these shows can go on break so they can film and catch up on stuff, I can do the same thing. So we'll be off for that week. But I'll announce that more next week on the next wave of episodes. But until then, again, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know please subscribe to ActionX if you want to see more of us. Ring that bell for notification when our next Walker episode review is live, which is each and every Friday mornings normally. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to. It does help us get us out there to other people of the Walker family fan base who has yet to discover us. Helps us fix up that YouTube algorithm, and sharing is for free. Follow us on social media to be up to date with any updates for the channel. Follow us on Twitch. So until then, Walker family, I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Why do I smell? I smell something. I gotta go check something out. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. But until next time, peace out.